Alright, so back in 2023, I played my first Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. And in January of 2025, the second entry to the Remake trilogy is set to be released on Steam. I'm here to tell you all about the original 1997 version of Final Fantasy VII, in preparation for this new release. First of all, almost all of the segments from the original game are present in the remake, but the same cannot be said for the original. Many of the sections from the original have been extended to help the player feel more immersed in the environments. For example, one of the first sections in the game has you descending a large building that is under construction to reach the Mako reactor below. In the original, this segment is a short walking simulator with a few encounters with enemies. However, in the remake, this section is extended to include multiple encounters with some interesting enemies that require the player to think outside the box to defeat. It also introduces hazards that can hurt the player separate from battle. The remake also features a completely different battle system than the original, so that also helps with making areas feel more fleshed out. Though I must say, the environments that were created for the original game are stunning. These environments are static backdrops that were created separate from the characters. This means that the creators didn't have to model any backgrounds in 3D. As you may or may not know, Final Fantasy as a series does not have a consistent continuity. This means that you won't see Cloud, Tifa, or Barret in Final Fantasy XIV. The story of Final Fantasy VII revolves around the terrorist organization Avalanche. This organization hires the main character, Cloud, to help them destroy Mako Reactor Number 1. Avalanche's main goal is to rid the city of Midgar of the Shinra Electric Power Company. This is because the Mako reactors steal energy from the lifestream of the planet itself, eventually causing the lifestream to run dry. As you progress the game, you get more information about Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, and Sephiroth, who is the big bad of the main game. One character that is mysteriously missing from the main game in the remake is Yuffie. This is because in the remake there was a PlayStation 5 exclusive DLC called Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission. This featured Yuffie as the main playable character, and a standalone story mode was put into that DLC. Perhaps the biggest difference between Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Remake is the combat. Original Final Fantasy VII's combat is turn-based, with RPG menus and spell castings, while Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat is a third-person sort of beat-em-up type of gameplay, although it does incorporate the menu system in order to activate your spells and to use your items. Another character who is relevantly absent from Final Fantasy VII Remake is Vincent. This is most likely due to the fact that Vincent in Final Fantasy VII appears in a part of the game that corresponds to the beginning of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the game set to release late January. Sometimes, when playing this game, it's hard to remember that it was released for the PS1. The amount of different assets, 3D models, audio clips, and character designs are in the game is remarkable. The designs for bosses like Jenova, Safer Sephiroth, and the different weapons are ridiculously complex for their time. I also want to talk about the soundtrack. Primarily composed by Nobuo Uematsu, Final Fantasy VII hosts a wide variety of diverse music, ranging from tracks like Fight On, to show the determination of a losing battle, to the silliness of the Chocobo's theme, and the mystery of Jenova. But when talking about Final Fantasy VII's soundtrack, you can't neglect to mention One Winged Angel. Perhaps the most popular and most memed upon song is also the most impactful. Sephiroth's theme really does convey a feeling of dread, as if you're being pursued by a force completely out of your control. I find the relationship between Cloud and Sephiroth and the Soldier program extremely interesting, as Cloud once aspired to be exactly like Sephiroth, but now despises him. I've never been a fan of turn-based RPGs. However, Final Fantasy VII has captivated me in a way that no other game has. Everything from the character designs to the simple concept of the game are so interesting. I absolutely can't wait for Final Fantasy VII Remake Rebirth to come out this January. It seems like these are the types of videos that end up getting views, so I've decided to continue pumping out review and guide content as to widen my audience to new people. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and leave a comment for the next game you'd like me to review or make a guide on.